See, you don't really even need the knife with this meat. It's so tender that, look, I'm just taking a fork, coach is taking a fork. We don't even need the knife. Look at that, how that comes apart.
Just like your mom used to make, right?
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm mad that I haven't been here. My name is Stephen Bardo, former Flying Illini and NBA point guard turned basketball analyst. I have traveled the world through basketball, and the one thing I have found is everyone loves food and sports.
Humble as a mumbo, lapped up in the back, rusty Cadillac, rolling up a jumbo.
What's up, y'all? It's your man Stephen Bardo coming at you with another edition of America Loves Food and Sports. We're in the South Loop neighborhood, and we are at a gym, ladies and gentlemen. This place has been open since 1942. If you know anything about Chi-Town food, you gotta know what you're doing to stay in business that long. We're at Manny's Cafeteria and Delicatessen. I have driven past this place many a times, but have not stopped in. But I'm stopping in today, and I'm looking forward to it. Plus, I've got my man with me, Coach Brian James. Good to see you, Coach. Thanks for joining.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, assistant coach of Northwestern. Has been a coach in the NBA. He was my coach in the NBA. Yep. So I'm looking forward to breaking bread with my coach here. So let's get to it.
All right, let's do it.
Coming back, no, watch me in my backstroke. Watch me in my backstroke. Just watch me. I'm moving my back. Stroke. I'm going in my back. Stroke, 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 stroke.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Man, look at this sandwich.
I know that.
Look at that. Now, I got big hands, guys, so I don't know if I'll be able to wrap my hand around this, but you know I'm going to try.
Until I get to swimming in it. She tried to tell me this is home, but it isn't. My heart ain't been here for 16 months.
All right, so we finally got to the table with Coach James. I want to bring in Dan Raskin, who is the fourth generation owner of Manny's. I said that right, fourth generation. Dan, thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for coming
us, man.
in. We're happy to have you guys.
Share with us what we're getting ready to enjoy here.
So you guys picked the perfect items.
Okay.
You started with the short ribs, which is like one of our main entrees. And then you have a turkey pastrami sandwich. So normally, I would say it's a little too much food for one person, but I think you can handle it.
Okay, all right.
And then over here we have our beef stew, our famous matzo ball soup, and our iconic corned beef sandwich with potato pancake.
Okay.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, so the sandwiches are the thing that makes Manny's Manny's.
So the sandwiches are what most people come in like the first few times, and then once people have really become Manny's regulars, then they graduate basically onto the hot entree stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, our biggest sellers are our sandwiches, but like the regulars that are coming in all the time are always eating our hot entrees.
Okay,
so Coach,
let's
homemade.
Let's dig in. I'm gonna ask him a couple more questions though. So, what's been the thing that's kept Manny's mainstay in the community? Because it's a mainstay. This is a place where everybody looks forward to coming to. What's been the key for that?
I think the key thing for us, for being around so long, is that since we're a family business, we're fourth generation now. So someone from our family is almost always here. So literally 98% of the time I'm here or my dad's here, and we just make sure like our shifts overlap. So one of us will come early, one of us will come late, and there's always a Raskin in the house. So
Okay.
and we also had some employees who've been here for a really, really long time. So they're always making sure that it's like us being here too, that they really know for some for 40 years. So they really know what to put on the plate, and it's always the same thing every day.
Well, I kept my composure on this short rib, but this is really good.
Yeah, mine's really good.
Yeah,
too.
what do you think, Coach?
I love this beef stew. I've been a beef stew fan my whole life, so this is good.
And see, you don't really even need a knife with this meat. It's so tender that look. I'm just taking a fork. Coach is taking a fork. We don't even need a knife. Look at that, how that comes apart.
Just like your mom used to make, right?
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm mad that I haven't been here.
I know.
We've driven by here all this time, haven't come in. Okay, I'm gonna keep working on this, and then we're gonna get an interview. But Dan, what's the most popular day you think that people like to come in to Manny's and really enjoy the experience?
So our busiest time of the year is actually St. Patrick's time. Obviously, Chicago is always known for our St. Patrick's Day celebration, and everybody wants corned beef. So they come to the best place in Chicago for it, which is us.
Okay.
So we literally have a line down the block. Like the whole weekend is people lined up just to get corned beef.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you change your colors to green from red?
No, but
don't do
all our
that?
employees are wearing green aprons, and they're excited. They know that week is not a vacation week. They're all here working all day and working really hard to feed everybody.
Okay.
You have a carry-out business as well, right?
Yes. So we have like people calling in their hot entree orders, but we also have a deli counter here that we sell everything by the pound and do deli trays and catering and all that type of stuff. And we also wholesale our products. So there's all the restaurants in Chicago that are selling our corned beef and pastrami, and you can also pick up our corned beef at Costco.
Great stuff, man. Dan, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
Enjoy your lunch.
we're going to devour this food, man.
Thank you.
But thank you, appreciate it. So you guys know that I typically take smaller bites so I can talk and eat, but I kind of like, I'm gonna get Coach to start talking so I can throw down on his short ribs. I'm gonna get on the sandwich here in a second. So Coach, take us through your background, because you coached at every level.
Yeah.
High school, college, and pro, so kind of run us through that a little bit.
I've been really blessed, Stephen. You know, I grew up knowing when I was about 14 years old that I wanted to coach. And I wasn't going to be good enough to play at a high level. What's the next best thing? I idolized my coaches. I said, I thought I would be a high school coach my whole life.
Really?
So this is my 43rd year in basketball.
43rd year, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 18 of them were high school coaches in Illinois at 4 different schools.
Oh, okay.
And loved every year I was in it.
Okay.
And then I was blessed to coach a guy by the name of Chris Collins at Glenbrook North, who was Mr. Basketball of Illinois, McDonald's All-American. And at that time, before I coached at Glenbrook North, I coached at Romeoville, which is down by Joliet. And I became the coach at Glenbrook North, went up there. Chris Collins was a sophomore in high school, so I coached him for 3 years. And then after he graduated, I coached there 3 more years. And then Doug Collins,
His father.
Chris's dad, knocked on my door and said, I want to talk to you at my house tonight. He said, in 3 days, I'm going to be the head coach and general manager of the Detroit Pistons. I want to know if you want to come with me full time. So go home and talk it over with your family. So I even though I loved my job, I said, if I don't do this, I'll always wonder what if. And so the next thing I know, I've been in the NBA for 18 years. So 5 different teams. I was blessed to coach you in Detroit.
For a short coffee break in Detroit.
No, it was more than a coffee break, but you were a good player, and we all know that.
I appreciate that.
And I was happy to do so. And so I coached Detroit, 3 years in Detroit, 3 years in Toronto. We had in Detroit, we had Grant Hill, Joe Dumars. Toronto, we had a guy named Vince Carter who we drafted, Tracy McGrady, Charles Oakley. We were really, really good. Antonio Davis and Kevin Willis. And then I went on to Washington and coached a guy by the name of Michael Jordan with Doug again.
Yep.
Reunited with him.
Second coming of Jordan.
And he was still our best player at age 39. I coached there 2 years, broadcasted for 2 years after that in Washington, D.C. Then became an assistant coach with the Milwaukee Bucks for 3 years. Worked with Terry Stotts, who's now the Trailblazers coach, and Larry Kostoviak at Utah. And then coached lately in Philadelphia with the 76ers. We were really good and got beat in the second round of the playoffs. That's where we beat Chicago in the first round when Derrick Rose first hurt his knee.
I remember that series.
In that playoff series. And so I coached in Philly for 3 years, and then ever since then I've been with Chris, and we'll be starting 7 years together at Northwestern.
Yeah.
Really, really a fun time.
Well, you guys do a heck of a job there, because a lot of times in my working with Big Ten Network, I'll go around and talk to coaches, and one of the things that they say about this Northwestern staff, the hardest to game plan for, meaning that Coach James, Coach Collins, they have a playbook that's so extensive that they can put guys in position at any point in the game. And so when you're trying to scout a team like Northwestern, if you don't have 2 or 3 days in advance, or you don't have advanced scouts working on your behalf, it's very difficult to game plan against Northwestern because of the knowledge of Coach James and Coach Collins and what they do. Coach, how much different is the NBA game now than when you were coaching? It seems to be a lot more emphasis on analytics and things of that nature.
Not only analytics, but also player development these days is huge in the NBA.
That makes sense.
I talked to the Bulls management about this about a year ago, because the players are so much younger, Steve. They're not going to college for 4 years. A lot of them aren't. And so player development is key. So those players are in there all summer long, working on their fundamentals and gaining knowledge about the game. When I coached, even just 6 years ago in the NBA, the players coming into the league were older, and so we were fine-tuning some skills that they had already had. But good players are good players. They all want to be taught. They all want to have discipline. They work hard. Anybody that says NBA players don't work hard, they don't understand the work involved. And they're dedicated at their craft. And some of my best friends are guys, such as yourself, who I coached or coached with. And that's why I go back to the NBA Combine every year and relive. It's almost like a class reunion too.
I bet.
But the players are really, really good in the NBA in terms of listening and learning.
Okay. And Coach, what's the biggest difference for a young coach that's watching this? What's the biggest difference between coaching at the college level and the pro level?
Well, I love coaching at the college level. I mean, they're listening, they're hinging on every word that you say. We're blessed at Northwestern to have such great kids there. Academics is important to them, but we want to coach pros who also want to get a good degree, not people that are just there for the degree. And it's hard in the Big Ten because of the competition that you're coaching against. Coaches are great in our Big Ten conference, and the players are very, very good. And I think, us and arguably the ACC, SEC, it's the highest level of basketball, just below the NBA. And but our players are great. They work hard. They spend a lot of time in the gym. They have 24/7 access in our brand new facilities there, and they find time to study too. So it's not like they're in the library all the time. There's a lot of time for them to work on basketball, and they're working hard at doing that.
I'll relay a little story to you. I'm covering Northwestern for Big Ten Network, Northwestern, Nebraska. If you know anything about the weather in Lincoln, Nebraska, if you don't like it, just wait a minute because it's going to change. So, impending storm coming. And we as broadcasters typically don't like doing this, but every now and then we'll ask a favor. And I go to Coach James and I say, Coach, you know what? It seems like there's a snowstorm coming. I may not be able to get out. Do you think there's room on your plane? So they were nice enough, even after a loss, a tough loss, they were gracious enough to have me ride back with them, save me an extra night in the hotel, save me headache trying to get back to Chicago during a snowstorm. And the classiness of the coaching staff and the young men on that team were something. Because after a loss, I heard zero conversation. These guys were upset that they lost the game. It wasn't like they were in the locker room for 10 minutes and they were upset, then they went back on their phones or their games. These guys didn't say a word on the bus to the airport. They didn't say a word on the plane. They didn't say a word. I rode back to the campus with them. You remember that, Coach?
Yeah, I did.
They didn't say a word. because these guys were upset because they didn't take care of business that night. That taught me a lot about this particular program and what they're trying to do and the ways that they're trying to build young men. I was trying to give you a chance to eat. Check out that sandwich. This turkey pastrami is ridiculous. If you can see how it's shredded and how they prepare the meat. What do you think, Coach?
Moist.
Yeah, great. You didn't see me put anything on it. I didn't put mustard, put mayonnaise, nothing. Doesn't need anything. The food is excellent. So, Coach, talking about that transition or, college and the pro game, we had an example here recently. University of Michigan, John Beilein leaves college and goes to the pros a little bit unexpectedly. For a guy that's as successful, Beilein's he won 4 Big Ten titles. Right. He got to 2 national championship games. He really has a program rolling, but he chose to go to Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Why do you think he did that?
I think, and I don't want to speak too much for him.
Sure.
I know he was, as a lot of coaches in college now, are becoming a little bit frustrated with all the number of transfers going from one program to another.
Keep listening now. This is key.
Right. Another thing is the grad transfer. If we had 3 of our players all graduate, leave our program, and they were all players who wanted to play more minutes at another school,
right?
And they are able to do so if they transfer to the right school.
Sure.
And you can't fault a kid for already getting his degree to do that and playing maybe 1 year somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a huge faction in college that is doing that as well. They don't have to sit out. And then the more people are declaring, more good players are declaring for the NBA draft than ever before. And I think Coach Beilein was going to return all 5 players off a very, very good team, maybe a top 5, top 6 team next year in the country. And 3 of his players elected to go into the NBA draft and probably will not return to college. So, when you have to retool a team every year, especially when they're still underclassmen, it takes a lot out of a coach. And so, the NBA has been knocking on his door for a couple years now. He interviewed for the Pistons job the year before.
That's right.
And they were quite impressed with his interview. And I think Cleveland Cavaliers got themselves a great coach.
Yeah, I do as well, because I'll relay a story about John Beilein. When Mo Wagner was a senior and they were making that run, they got hot all of a sudden. Their plane ran off the runway in preparation. Remember that? Going to the Big Ten Conference Tournament in D.C. It was a couple years ago.
They had to play their first game in their practice jerseys.
In the practice jerseys. That's great, Coach. You can go back on YouTube and check this out. They caught fire in the Big Ten Conference Tournament, won the tournament, made a run all the way to the NCAA championship game. One of the things that stuck out about John Beilein to me, he was listening to German hip hop, because that's what Mo Wagner was listening to. Now, John Beilein is 66?
Yeah, 65 or 6.
65, 66, but he wants to stay young, like Coach James. These guys understand who they're dealing with. And so I was really impressed with John Beilein's terminology that he uses in practicing in games, because it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But you can learn something from him. I love his approach, because he tries to stay young. Another thing about John Beilein is that he's never been anything but a head coach. At every level that he's coached, he's been a head coach. And I did hear a story, Coach James, this is not gonna surprise you. There was this is Dean Cooper. He was a young, up-and-coming guy trying to get in the business. He goes out to New York. He calls a Canisius office. John Beilein is the coach. John Beilein says, okay, you coming in next week? Come on through. Let's meet. I'll give you some time. I'll talk with you. So Coach Cooper goes to his parents' house in New York, and his mom says, there was a guy with a funny last name that just called you. And he's like, you talking about Coach Beilein? He said, yes. He called to tell you that he got the job at West Virginia, and he's sorry he's not going to be in the office to take your visit. Now think about this for a second. This is a head coach going from Canisius to West Virginia. There was a young man that's trying to get into the business. He's up and coming. He was going to take time out for him, but he had presence of mind. He got the job
to at least call
the guy's parents and tell him that he's not going to be able to make the thing. Isn't that something that sounds like?
It does not surprise me.
Yeah, that's John Beilein.
And our Big Ten Conference is loaded with great coaches who are great human beings too. I mean,
agree.
you can go start from top to bottom.
I agree.
And you know, it's the old golden rule: treat people the way you want to be treated. And
That's right.
How I was brought up. You were brought up.
Yep.
I've known you since you were 18 years old, so you know that you can get a long way ahead in life when you do things like that.
I agree. All right, Coach, we're gonna have fun now. Best Big Ten venue besides Northwestern's, because you all have a fantastic venue.
I love our venue. It is a mini NBA arena.
I agree.
And Dr. Jim Phillips and his staff, Brian Baptiste was the organizer behind the building of our building, but our donors did a remarkable job of raising the money and giving us the money to build those facilities. So I love ours. It seats 7,039 people, I believe, for basketball. And but there are a lot of great arenas, and I look at the arenas who have the crowd support that are hard to win. I mean, it's almost impossible to win at Mackey Arena. We have in the past, could have won a couple times, but their fan support is so good. It's not easy to win in East Lansing for sure.
You got that right.
They're gonna pack it in every single night.
Yep.
I love the Orange Crush down at Illinois because they're right on top of the court, and I remember when they first became an Orange Crush. Maryland has unruly fans.
I agree.
But
they get after you.
They get after you. Another, Ohio State, believe it or not, they put the students right behind the visiting bench, so they're going to know more about you than you think. They're Googling your name and knowing what high school you went to, and, you know. So nobody though. I've left out a school. Nebraska has got incredible facilities. And I have not been in their practice facility, but I hear it's remarkable. The arena is off the chart.
Yes, it is.
It's the only show in town. But, you know, for all you high schoolers, Northwestern is still the best.
I love it. And listen, if you haven't seen a game at Northwestern, get up there and check it out. Coach is not exaggerating. Beautiful, beautiful facility, because there's not a bad seat in the house. And the way that they structured it is, it's really, everybody's really close to the court.
Well, I was told this when, you know, we took tour after tour after tour with the people who built the building. And the worst seat in Welsh Ryan Arena, the top row, is equivalent to the front row of the 200 level at the United Center. So basically, if you can imagine, every person sitting at Welsh Ryan is down in the lower level at the United
Center. That's a great analogy.
So that's how close you are to the court.
So it's an outstanding venue.
And you know, we have some, you know, the students, where the students sit on the end zones are the only ones that aren't chairback seats, but we have very comfortable seating now. We have the Wilson Club where you can go get something very good to eat if you know, with some of our premier seating. But, you know, there's nothing that, they left no stone unturned.
I agree.
And our locker room is amazing. And now our practice facility is being built as we speak.
Yeah, where the old football facility was.
Where the old football indoor 100-yard field was. So that'll be done at some point in time during this next school year. So, we're excited to have all of our facilities done, and now we want to get good players there to play for us.
Okay. Well, this is Coach Brian James, assistant coach at Northwestern, former coach of mine at the Detroit Pistons, has been in the game for more than 40 years, and I really want to thank you, Coach.
All right, Steve.
For coming out, man, and sharing the time, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Great food.
Yes, excellent food.
That I'm thinking about you wherever I go. Yeah, I said I'm thinking about you like coming back, no. That don't mean I'm coming back.
You know, I don't live too far from the South Loop, and I've driven past Manny's a number of times and not come in, and that was a mistake. But I will not make that mistake again. The food was great. The service was excellent. I want to give a special thanks to owner Dan Raskin. Also special thanks to Coach Brian James, assistant coach at Northwestern, for joining me in this edition of America Loves Food and Sports. That'll do it from the South Loop. Make sure if you come by Manny's, go in and check it out. You will not be disappointed. That'll do it for this edition. I'm your man, Stephen Bardo. Out.